Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, You Are The Bridge. I am coming to you from the floor today. I thought I'd change it up a little bit. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the subject of the light that is perceived when somebody is near death, okay, or dying, right? So we know that it is a thing, it must be a thing for it to be, for so many people to have mentioned it before. And what happens is sometimes people will have a near-death experience where they'll be very, very close to death and they will perceive that light. And then when somebody maybe is on their deathbed and we're around somebody that is going through that final transition in life and they're actually, close to death or they're at end of life, they may mention a light, okay? So what I'm going to talk about today is where is that light coming from exactly? Now, what I want to say first of all is there's many concepts and theories about that light, okay? There's many different stories that I've heard about what that light is. Now, I am aware of a lot of those stories, but today I'm just going to be focusing on the truth of where that true light is actually coming from, okay? So just to give an idea of how it works when we're a human in a physical reality is that we have the body. This is a tool to navigate the third dimension, moving into the fifth dimension, but the 3D, if you want to call it earthly realm, height, width, depth, for that we need a body, okay? So this is the tool that we have to navigate the earthly experience. That's not really who we are though. Who we are isn't the body, but we massively identify with the body when we're in the bodily experience, when we're having a lifetime, okay? The truth of who we really are is spirit. Is spirit having a human experience? It's not the other way around. It's not the human that having a brief spiritual experience. You were always spirit. You've never really left spirit, Back in the day, guys, I was completely closed off to all this as well, and I was of the mindset that when you die, that's it. So, no judgments if that's your belief system. Take what resonates from this and leave whatever doesn't resonate. There's a lot of these subjects that I talk about that can't be proven. I can't hand you a piece of paper. I can't hand you solid evidence to say, here we go, this is the proof of it. It has to be felt. You have to resonate with it because what I'm talking about here transcends the physical world. And anything that transcends and goes beyond the physical experience, you can't have a piece of paper for anyway. But deep in your subconscious, unconscious mind, you know the truth of how it works. But when we come into this human experience, we temporarily forget all of that because if we remembered it all, we wouldn't be fully focused in the human experience, going through the earthly lessons that we go through to ultimately grow as a soul. So what happens is the biggest cycle that we experience when we come into a physical experience is we're born, that's a big cycle, that's the start of it, and then we die. And that's what we class as the end of the lifetime. So if somebody's been lucky enough to live a very long life, 80, 90 years, even maybe more, then we as humans, because we've been so identified with the physical reality and the physical body and the identity of who we are in this lifetime, we've been very used to and accustomed to this physical world. We've forgotten that we're actually spirit and we're actually multi-dimensional beings. We're not just this physical body. The multi-dimensionality, sorry, I could just about say that word, of who we are, kind of extends far beyond just the physical experience. So what happens is when the physical body dies, or sometimes some people may have a near-death experience, but they end up not actually dying and they end up coming back into the body because they've got certain things that they need to finish in the lifetime, is the physical organic vessel at some point will perish for all of us, okay? Because the physical reality is finite, it's always changing, and it doesn't last forever. But the truth of who we are, which is a conscious spirit on a mind level that goes beyond the physical experience, that is infinite. And we go on and on and on, and we never truly end. Not the truth of our true self, that doesn't end. And the truth of who we are is light, is spirit light. But we know, and it's been proven by certain experiments actually, that light is conscious. Light, the light of the universe and all the light that we see around us is actually conscious. And there's been experiments done that has showed that if light particles are not being observed, they act differently to when they are being observed, and that they change. So light is conscious. The light of the universe is everything that we see around us coalesced into a physical form. Okay, so everything that we see is actually light, but it's been compressed and distorted into something that is what we would class as physical matter. Okay. And again, there's been experiments done where, you know, somebody's had a certain scan or something, and somebody has scanned a physical living thing like a plant, a person, or an animal, and you can actually see light emanating from that physical vehicle. Okay, so light is what we are. So if we are to think about where that is not the physical light, because it goes beyond the physical reality, but the light that is perceived when someone is passing away. Okay, so what that is in the physical body, we've got a chakra system. If you haven't heard of chakras, I have done a video on that, so feel free to refer to that. But if I start going into chakras in this video, it'll never end because it's a big subject as well. There are certain vortexes within our body called chakras that supply energy to certain parts of the body, and they deal with the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual aspect of us, etc. Above our heads reside more chakras, but they're slightly different because they're not actually physically residing in the body. So the chakras that reside above our head are called the transpersonal chakras, and they transcend. All that means is they transcend the physical individual identity. Okay, so that's when we go up through the chakra system above our head and upwards, where we're connected to the cosmos and the universe. That is actually that's where everything comes back into one unit again. So when we drop down through the chakras, that's where everyone becomes individualized, and we see people as separate beings, me and you, and you know, all the things that are separate or perceived to be separate from you, even though they're not really separate. That's how the chakras work in the physical body, is that these are more related to the individual personality in the lifetime. So if we think back to the transpersonal chakras that reside above the head, you've got the crown chakra, you've got the causal chakra, and then above that the soul star chakra, which is your Akash or your soul records, and that's where the data and information is held in that chakra with regards to your soul lifetimes, because you don't just have one lifetime, you have many lifetimes, because ultimately if you're going to grow as a soul, you can't just do that in one lifetime. And then above that, you have something called the stellar gateway, which isn't so much a chakra either. It's more like a vessel, like a funnel almost, where everything beyond the stellar gateway chakra is pure spirit, is light. So where that spirit light is coming from when somebody passes away is as the soul has to, the energy, soul is energy, basically the consciousness, the energy, as that leaves the body in death, it shoots up through the top of the head and it goes back through those transpersonal chakras. So the spirit light that is perceived is coming through that stellar gateway, and that is where everything is all united again. Okay, but that is you. That's the truth of who you are. You started off as spirit light, and you'll go back to being spirit light. But when we're in this earthly experience, we've forgotten all that. We come in with the veils of amnesia, and we forget who and what we truly are, which is an infinite spiritual being that's decided to have a physical experience with lots of different types of lessons, lots of different contrasting lessons. So what happens is, because we've got so attached to that physical experience and we forget that we're spirit, when we pass away, the light is perceived, and we naturally know, the soul knows it has to move towards it to go back to being spirit again, so that it can review the lifetime and it can decide if it wants to come back in again. Don't forget, the light of spirit is conscious, it's intelligent and aware, and it far transcends the intelligence of the human being. The human being is intelligent, but there's far more intelligences in the universe than just that, okay, just the left brain. So as the soul moves back into spirit, that's the light is attracting, the soul is being attracted back to that light. The soul knows where to go. You're not physically going anywhere really, because everything is kind of all in the same place, but it just looks as if, you know, it's the idea that we think that that spirit light is far away. It's not really, and there's not a certain location of it, but it, you know, when we think about it from the human perspective, we feel like it's separate. It's not really. It's all part of our whole energy system, really. Our whole multi-dimensional self is that spirit light as well. So sometimes what you'll hear people saying if they've had a near-death experience, or if somebody's on their deathbed and you're with them and you're holding their hand through it, is they may say, oh, a family member's here that's passed away. It's my mum. You know, their mum might have passed away 20 years ago. It's my gran, it's my pet, it's my great aunt, it's my friend that passed. There's a being of light. These energies will come to us to assist us back to that spirit light, because we've been so used to the physical experience, we've forgotten all about it. Sometimes we need a little bit of guidance back to that spirit light. So that's why sometimes people may perceive relatives. They come back because universe knows, the soul knows when the physical vessel is going to die. And even if somebody dies on their own, so say for example, you know, you couldn't get to somebody in time and they died suddenly. So, you know, that was the case with my dad, with my nan. I was lucky enough to be by my stepdad's side when he passed away. I was lucky, you know, my granddad was lucky enough to have people around him, but I did have a couple of people in the family that died on their own without any family members there, because we couldn't get to them in time, you know. But on the other side of it, on the spirit side, they would have been surrounded by helpers, guiding them back home, essentially, to that spirit light. So the spirit light that is perceived is coming from the stellar gateway chakra. And some people say that when they go deep into a meditation, they can actually perceive that point of light. They can see it. I've never personally tried it myself before, but I do believe that, you know, that is possible, that you can actually see that point of light, which is your own spirit light, a very, very, very bright light. And it's coming down through the stellar gateway chakra. And as the soul moves up to the stellar gateway chakra, it's going back to the light that they are. So don't ever worry if somebody's passed away on their own, because I can guarantee you that from their point of view, as they're moving back to that light source, they will have been guided every step of the way by helpers in the spirit world. And it is a thing, guys, it is a thing. So if you know anybody that's near death or having end of life care, and they might say that they've seen somebody, they might shout out that, you know, a family member's name that passed away many years ago, there is a comfort there for them. That's what it is. It's a comfort, and it's them manifesting an energy form of that person, how they were when they were living as the individual, so that person who's dying actually recognizes and trusts that this person is leading me to the right place. You're always being led to that light. And there's many people that have near-death experiences that say, the light that I perceived was so peaceful that I didn't really want to leave it. I didn't really want to come back down into the dense earthly experience where I might have had physical pains in my body, or I might have had challenges going on. I just wanted to stay in that light. And that light is intelligent and aware, and it's actually who you truly are. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.